Okay, now it's good. Perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm Limone from the Urbe and Builders Garden team hosting the Farcaster Agentic Bootcamp. Today is the fifth session, and we have Madeleine from the Privy team joining us to showcase how to give your agent a wallet using the Privy SDK, which is actually one of my favorites. I think it's been 2, 3 years now that I've been hacking and building consumer stuff with Privy, and so of course, like super excited to see the agentic side of things. Um, as always, reminding you this bootcamp is preparing for the online hackathon that is starting next week. 2 weeks of online hackathon with Neinar, Farcaster, Privy, and other partners that will be offering also bounty prizes for you to build on specific tracks by them. The main focus is building agents on Farcaster, agents that operate in the feed, agents that coordinate, negotiate, do commerce and transactions. And of course, like when it comes to transaction, this session about Privy agentic wallets, I think it's very relevant for the whole curriculum. I think one of the most important of the one that we have so far. So it's going like deep inside a tool that I think all or most of you will be using during the hackathon. That said, I leave the stage to Madeleine. As always, the session is recorded and transcribed, so you can watch it later. And if you have any question, please ask them in the chat, and then Madeleine, according to her preferences, can pick them up later or by the end. Let's go. Let's go, Madeleine. Welcome.
Sweet. Hi, I'm Madeleine. I'm a product engineer at Privy. I'm going to share my slides. Yeah, so I'm going to start off with a quick, like, what is Privy, just for people who don't know. Privy is an authentication and key management system. We are the abstraction layer between your application and the blockchain. And our developer tools make it really easy to onboard users and activate your users on chain with wallets and getting those wallets funded and using them with very simple abstractions. So like I said, Privy gives your users access to digital assets with login message that are most familiar to them, like Google login and Twitter login, so they don't have to like manage keys themselves. Once they log in, embedded wallets can be automatically provisioned for users under the hood. You can also spin up wallets via API, which is something that we're seeing agent developers do as well. So wallets that are not associated with users directly from your server. And all Privy wallets are super, super configurable. You can set who can control the wallet. So you can set like an owner, like who has like total control over the wallet, or like an additional signer who can like take only like certain scoped actions. You can have the owner or signers be like a certain threshold of actors that need to approve a request before that request is executed. Generally just like very highly configurable. You can also configure really granular policies that let you enforce what actions a wallet is able to take. You can enforce those actions at like the wallet level, at the like owner or signer level. So you can add a signer that can only, you know, spend up to like $20. Like for example, like an agent being only able to spend up to a certain threshold, or send to allow listed contract addresses. So I think the big thing here is like Privy makes it really easy to create wallets. And those wallets are super configurable, which is really important in the agent use case, which I'll talk more about later too. But once a user has a wallet, Privy also makes it really easy to get funds in that wallet. We have native on-ramp and bridging to handle all of the complex blockchain logic behind the scenes. And so like all this to say, it makes it really easy to get users and agents, wallets, and onboarded into your app. And then just to like really double down, Privy is the leading wallet infrastructure provider. Farcaster uses us, which is great. We were recently acquired by Stripe as well. We have years of experience in blockchain payment stack. And our thesis is like our product is perfectly built or perfectly shaped for agentic payments. Like being highly configurable, being super secure is exactly what you need when you're building an agent. having like really secure configurable wallet and payment infrastructure allows you guys to focus on building really cool agents and agent capabilities. So we make it super easy to give users wallets, and we're excited to change, like kind of like apply that same wallet stack to giving agents spending power, and empowering them to spend in a way that's native to the internet. Does anybody have any questions there? I can stop there for now.
Nothing so far in the chat. I think all good. If anybody has question, please raise your hand.
Otherwise, I'll keep powering through. But feel free to leave questions in the chat. I'll check.
We have one question. Proof,
Yeah.
please. Let's see if they write or speak.
Okay. So in the previous slide, I saw something about that the keys are generated in the TEE and they are in memory. My question is, what happens when, let's say, the server in which the TEE is running, what happens when the server is down or something? Will it get lost, or how is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah, Privy is like very dedicated, or like we're committed to having really high uptime. I think it's like 4 nines. So it's like very, very rare that the server goes down in the first place, and we get it back up very fast. But the T architecture is important to make sure that the private key is secured. Like, you know, if you lose your private key in crypto, you lose like you could like an attacker could potentially drain all of the funds in that wallet. So like making sure that's really secure is important. But if you wanted to have guarantees around like the Privy server going down, you could always export your key and store that somewhere else. So you could sign locally instead of having to hit the Privy server.
Okay. Thank you.
Sweet. Okay, I'll keep going. So the next section I want to talk about is like why give an agent a Privy wallet. And so the first thing, like you guys know, you've been thinking about this a lot, but agents need spending power. Right now, like agents are kind of like geniuses in a box, and like now, like they're super smart, super intelligent, and very capable, but they can't really do anything without being able to interact with the external world. OpenClaw kind of like helped with this. It made it so that they could interact with file systems on a computer, and being able to make API calls is very important. But the next barrier to agents being able to act really autonomously is being able to spend money and actually be economic actors. So first thing is like agents need spending power, and then how you give them that spending power is very important. Obviously, you want to give it to them in a very secure way. And that's really Privy's focus. Like we really believe we're a security company, and we take secure payments infrastructure really important, very seriously. It's very important to us. And building the primitives that people need when building agents is something we're very focused on. So the idea is like you need to give your agent some way to spend, and Privy will give you the right primitives that are super secure and locked down to give agents that spending ability. And then like why Privy again is like Privy is really flexible. Like I talked about this at the beginning, but being able to configure ownership over a wallet in a very flexible way. Like wallets can have owners and signers where like the owner has total control and signers have like scoped permissions. You can configure it so like a wallet needs multiple keys or like actors to submit a request. And it makes it really easy to configure different ownership models over a wallet. I think like a big thing the space is still like the agentic payment space is still trying to figure out right now is the right user experience with agents in wallets. Like if you give a agent a wallet and like how much control should they be able to have over that wallet? Should they only be able to spend small amounts? Should they have to, you know, pop back up to the user each time? to like have that transaction approved, or should the agent just be able to like spend all of the funds in the wallet however it wants to? All of these different shapes are available with Privy. And you know, it's early in the space, everybody's like tinkering and experimenting, and we think Privy being flexible is very important to builders because you can kind of mess around with all of these different ownership models and controls over the wallet models. And then again, like we have a very expressive policy engine that allows you to program how a wallet can be used. You can set policies around things like transfer limits, like how much can be sent in a single transaction. We have stateful policies, so you can do policies like over multiple transactions, like over a period of time. You can set like allow and deny list addresses, so the wallet can only interact with certain addresses. You can also have all of these policies configured to like a specific signer or an actor. And generally, this makes it really easy to restrict what an agent can do and protect from the case where you give an agent a wallet and they just like totally drain all of the funds in the wallet. So Privy has a bunch of secure controls to protect around that. So that's the end of that section. Any questions there? Oh, truth I see. Yes, you can configure limits on what agents can spend. The way that you would do this is you would add a signer to a wallet and give the agent that key like for that signer, and then configure a policy on top of that signer to like limit how much that signer is able to spend. You could say like, okay, like this signer, like any request signed with this key can only spend up to, let's say like $20 or something like that. And then are the wallets, and then on your second question, are the wallets externally owned accounts or smart accounts? Or we get to choose whichever. You get to choose whichever. Privy has a native smart account feature. So all wallets, user wallets, server wallets can be EOAs or smart accounts. And then we also, if the goal with smart accounts is to get gas sponsorship, we also have native gas sponsorship, where Privy will cover the gas for all of the transactions coming from Privy wallets as well. Sweet Duo.
Hi, Madeline. Something I want to ask you is, using Privy is like the wallet that the agent is going to use. I have the last word, right? Like I have the last decision to use the wallet. It's like, okay, the agent can use the wallet, but I have the final decision if I want, okay, don't spend this, or okay, stop, you cannot use it anymore.
Yeah, the user is like always in control, and you can configure how autonomous you want the agent to be. So if you wanted the agent to have to pop up to the user, you would instruct it to like prompt a user signature. Like you wouldn't even have to add an additional signer on the wallet, because you know you would have the user would need to be online whenever the agent made a transaction. But you could also configure the wallet and give the agent a key such that they could transact autonomously on the wallet. And notably, I've been saying the word key. These keys aren't like the actual key for the wallet. It's like an authorization key that Privy creates and distributes that gates access to the wallet. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Anything else on that section? I can share some docs as well after this that are useful to get started with all this stuff.
There's one more question by Truth.
Oh, go ahead. Maybe I can't see everybody while I'm sharing. Oh, I see. Can we also, yes. So we call these key quorums. I can send docs as well, but basically you can set like an owner or a signer to be a key quorum instead of a single key, such that you need like N of M or 3 of 4 signatures within that key quorum for something to happen. I think a potentially cool shape with this in agents is you need to have a verification step. Like the agent can sign a transaction and basically make that request, but you also need some external verification agent or some verification program that validates that that is a legitimate transaction to sign off before it hits the Privy API as well. And these will all be cryptographically enforced instead of at the system prompt or agent level for that added level of security. Cool. Okay, so hopefully you guys are all sold on using Privy for your agent wallets. Where do you start with giving agent wallets to agents? So the first thing that I'll talk about, we've shipped a bunch of different integrations to make it really easy to build for agent builders to give wallets to their agents. The first one I'll talk about is the X402 integration. Maybe can we do a quick show of hands of who has heard of X402? I'm curious how familiar this group is with the protocol. Okay, so most people have heard of this. I won't go too deep, but basically X402 is a way to include payment in an HTTP request. And you do this with Privy by wrapping the fetch call with payment. It's 5 lines of code. It will make the request for you, get the 402 error, and include the payment in the next fetch call that it makes, and it'll send from that Privy wallet. So again, super easy integration to use X402 and make X402 payments from a Privy wallet. Stripe and Tempo also released recently machine payments protocol, which is also including payments per HTTP request. If folks have seen that as well, we also make it really easy to pay with MPP. And so once you have a Privy wallet, you can use any of these machine payment protocols to spend down per API request. And then we have some starter repos. If you were interested in doing something around that, I personally have been using starter repos a lot. When I use Cloud Code to write code, I'll just be here's a starter repo that does this. Go do it as the starter repo does in my app. But I will show you the flow, basically the demo of this starter repo. And this is kind of what I was talking about, why Privy is so great here. You can kind of see all the pieces come together. So I'm going to start by creating an agent. This will create a Privy wallet. It hits the Privy API. It gets back this wallet address. There's a private key and a TE that was created. Now I'm going to fund it just from a treasury wallet so that there's actually funds in here. I'm now going to configure a policy, like I talked about, to restrict how much an agent can actually spend per transaction. These are super configurable. I just have some preset options here. And so now super easily, my AI agent is set up with a wallet address. It has a balance. It has a max amount that it can spend per transaction. And then I've also stood up these 2 API points that are gated behind an X402 paywall. So first, this weather endpoint. What happened under the hood is the X402 payment was automatically included using the Privy hook. The response went through. And then this request where I try and buy a sweater, a fun fact about me is that I love to buy sweaters. I live in New York City. It's a problem. There are way too many sweaters available for me to buy. But it gets blocked by this policy in the Privy enclave because it's above our configured spending limit. So this is a good, the cool thing about this demo is how fast it is for the AI agent, for your app to stand up an AI agent, fund that agent, configure policies to restrict what actions it's able to take, and while still allowing that agent to act autonomously. That was kind of a lot. Any questions there?
Yes, Seren brought up an interesting point. how do you see MPP compared to X402?
Yeah, they're both like great protocols. And agree, like I don't think that they're competing. MPP supports like all of the things that X402 supports. Stripe notably has like really easy integrations for both, where you can put like an MPP and X402 paywall in front of like an endpoint. That's actually what this demo uses if you like are clicking around in that starter repo. Yeah, MPP does have a way to like open a channel and kind of like prepay with a merchant, so it has like a little bit more functionality as like a second mover. And yeah, I think, but they're both starting to expand more into like fiat rails alongside crypto. A lot of the feedback I've like pretty close with both teams has been that folks don't want to spend just in crypto. They also want to use fiat rails. And so I think both standards are working on incorporating both. I'm not sure I understand. What do you mean by a confidential token transfer?
Well, let me say shielded token transfers.
So private transfers where like you cannot see the link between the two addresses transacting.
Exactly.
Not natively with Privy, but Privy will integrate, like we have a VM, like a really easy VM integration, and we integrate with all of the tools like in the broader Web3 ecosystem. So if you wanted to use a tool to do private token transfer, you could plug a Privy wallet into that really easily. Ooh, okay, sorry, I guess I'm getting a cold. Okay. The next thing I'll talk about is an OpenClaw scale. Oh, I am sharing the wrong slides.
There's another question, sorry, Madeline, before moving on to the next one by Sonia in the chat.
So you could build your own CLI. I guess maybe I might turn the question back on to you. What do you mean by like agent actions?
Okay.
Oh yeah. So you can do all of these programmatically. So the UI I stood up is just for like demo purposes, basically. So you can kind of like see it click through. Everything is available via API requests. And we have a bunch of SDKs built on top of those APIs. And so like short answer, you can do it through a CLI as well. It's not UI only. Cool. Sweet. Yeah, the next thing I'll talk about is an OpenClaw skill. OpenClaw had such a moment, and it's really easy to plug a Privy wallet into an OpenClaw agent. You can go through the flow at that doc. Right now, you actually do have to like create a Privy app and a Privy account to get that wallet, but that's something. Stay tuned. We're thinking a lot about like how to reduce friction to make it really easy to go from zero to wallet in like an agent with Privy. And then another tool, so I'm just like rattling through a bunch of integrations that we've done to make it really easy to build agents, to give agents access to Privy. Another one is a LangChain integration that we've built. If you haven't heard of LangChain, it's a platform to make building agents really easy. And they build tools around like creating agent harnesses. And so we have this like Privy wallet tool integration that you can just like, it's open source. You can just give it to your agent, and then your agent can create Privy wallets. It can spend on Privy wallets. It can check the balance. It's basically like knows how to speak Privy. And once you set it up with a wallet, it's off to the races. Sweet. Yeah. So those are all the slides that I have. I'd say like high level, the Privy product is really well shaped for this, but we're doing a big push right now on making it extra easy for agent developers to use Privy wallets. So if as you guys are building, you like have any feedback for like friction in the product, anything that like felt really good, we're around. I'm like so happy to chat through this stuff. I think like giving agents wallets is like how we're gonna like empower the next generation of autonomous agents, and it's very cool to be building in this space right now. So yeah, that's all I got. If people have more questions.
I have one question for you. Does Privy come also with a built-in LLM gateway that agents can pay for with X402 or MPP?
What do you mean by like an LLM gateway?
So paying for inference autonomously without any manual integration. I know that Bancor, for example, has that. So the agent has a wallet with USDC, and you don't need to plug OpenRouter or Anthropic or any like LLM provider, but you just can use the built-in one.
Yeah. So Privy doesn't build agents. We don't do like LLM inference or anything. You have to like already have an agent, and you're giving access, like you're giving, that like existing agent a wallet, if that makes sense. But you could use a Privy wallet to pay for inference.
Yeah. Okay.
With like the X402 and MPP integrations. If you like have like an endpoint to pay for that, you can like spend it from a Privy wallet.
Any question from the audience? Yes, one. Are you reading it, Madeline?
Yeah. So for one, the private key is stored in shards. We do Shamir secret sharing for key storage. So the key is not like persistent in the TE at all. It's only when requests are made that the private key is like reconstituted in the enclave. So like that's like one line of defense. Like if the TE is compromised, then like only keys that are only wallets that like have like active requests would be compromised. I can send like more security docs about what happens in that case as well.
Any other question? I have another one. Like, what about the hackathon? Is there anything in particular that you and the Privy team are excited about or expecting, like to see people build like some specific use cases? If it's around payments, if it's around privacy, as somebody was mentioning.
Yeah, we're really excited about people building tools for agents to use. We call these like agent merchants or like agent services. Once agents are autonomous, like autonomous economic actors, and they can spend, they have like spending power. The next question is like, where do they go and spend those funds? Like, what are like storefronts that accept MPP or X402? And Stripe is doing work to get like existing merchants. I always think about like J.Crew, like to be able to like accept like MPP or X402. But there's also this whole like problem space around that gets unlocked for like autonomous micro payments. And so we've seen them with like a few of our customers. Allium has like an who does like blockchain data. They have a way to hit their endpoints with X402 and get like on-chain data with like a micropayment, which is super, super cool. Not like a flow that was possible before. And I think the like adoption that we're seeing right now is around like autonomous micropayments for like software as a service. So that's like one space that I'm super excited about specifically, but broadly, I think there's a lot to build around how, like, where agents can spend. Like one demo that I stood up at our like internal AI hackathon was if you could put content behind like an MPP or X402 paywall, such that an agent could go and do like a research report, where you say like, okay, like agent, like, go, like, why are the lines so long at like LaGuardia right now? And LaGuardia goes and buys different pieces of content that like explain like, oh, like, well, you know, like there was like an accident and all of these things, and like does research for you. Similar for like, you could imagine like market research or something if you're like a venture capital firm and you want to be like, okay, like what is the opportunity in this market? Like go and buy a bunch of research reports and do research and synthesize something for me about like the total available market here and if I should invest. Things like that. Like there are all these capabilities that would make agents better, but there's not really a market for those services right now because there's not a way for agents to spend. But at Privy, we're thinking a lot about like making it really easy for agents to spend. So like, I guess like prompt is like, where would agents go spend that go where they can like leverage other agents or like other data sources that make them better.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Then I guess if there's no questions, that's it for today. Super excited for the hackathon start next week. Madeleine, if you can share with me also the slides, I will upload them to the Notion that we have here. And oh yeah, the group picture. Yes. So let me stop the recording here, so that it doesn't get included in the YouTube. Stop recording.